Guys, look, stop. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this because I've had enough of this reading the comments and just talking and seeing that nobody's gonna change. Nobody's even gonna get the message. Stop dating women in the United States altogether. I know I said stop. Don't marry a woman. Don't even with them at all now. Okay, because the thing is, nobody's gonna change, right? Nobody's even gonna try to compromise. Okay. They think that you want to control them because you ask them to sweep the floor in the same house that they live in. But let me ask you this. What are you getting out of dating a woman from the United States? You go to these other countries, you experience these women that treat you like you are somebody, like a real human, to be honest. And then you come back here. Man, I came back here and I'm like, I'll just wait to have sex again when I get out of the country. I just got interviewed. A dude asked me if I met a good chick here in the United States, would it change my mind? To be honest with you, knowing me, I'm not even gonna give it a shot. Now, even if I go on a date, every time I spend money in the United States, I think about how much would it have been in Brazil and how much money am I wasting. I go to Austin, Texas. I love Austin, Texas. I go over there to hang out for 3 days. That money it costs me to hang out in Austin for 3 days pays for 2 months in Colombia. Why the would I date over here in the United States? First, you're going to spend all your money here. And then you're going to get a that can't even get her pH off. And don't give me that bullshit of I'm picking the wrong one. All y'all pH off damn near. Especially if you're under 25. Y'all shit. You probably watching this right now, your shit's. But yeah, just stop dating in the United States altogether. And that's what's going to make women wake up. They don't need a man. They don't need us. Let them die alone. We go to another country, find you a woman, come back. Shit, don't even come back.
What's good, YouTube, Authentic Fam, Get Fit Fam? It's your boy Allende, welcoming you back to Authentic Alphas. And that clip was from a young dude by the name of Austin Holloman. So, probably not saying his last name right, but it's a cool dude right now that's, I guess, blowing up on TikTok or going viral or in the process of going viral. Basically, for suggesting that young men between, I think he said age 19 to 25, no longer date women in the US. And I found it very interesting because that's something that I've done myself. And then after doing that, kind of started telling more and more guys that I came in contact with the exact same thing. Now, of course, in those times, I didn't have a YouTube channel. I wasn't, big on social media. I'm still not really big on social media. I don't have a big social media presence, but I know a lot of people in real life, and I travel a lot. So I've always, told guys that pretty much exact same message, and I've had a passport my entire life, like my entire life. You know what I mean? So I spent the beginning of my life in another country. I came over here from Jamaica at 5, and ever since then, I have been traveling relatively frequently. Only but so many years will go by without me leaving the country. So I've lived in Europe. I've lived in Jamaica. So I've been to many islands, been to many countries in Latin America. So anyhow, I've been around is the point. So it wasn't like this big epiphany thing for me. It's kind of something I already knew my whole life, that they do differently in different parts of the world. They have a different mentality, different language, different culture, different religion, and of course, different mating games and a different dating market, right? So I kind of already knew that. But 10 years ago was when I really started trying to tell other guys that, and I started kind of embodying that mentality and that attitude myself. Because growing up in the States, I did date. I dated all through my teens in the States, and I dated all through majority of my 20s, like up until like 28 in the States. It was a different time though, guys. It was definitely a different time. It was before social media dominated and took over, and it was before we had this drastic shift in the dating market that we have now. So anyhow, there's a couple of things that he pointed out that I want to kind of go ahead and elaborate on, but shouldn't take too long, right? So he also had another video that somebody actually asked me to comment on, where he actually listed out, I guess, his 8 main reasons for no longer dating in the States. And I figured, you know what, it'll be easier if I kind of just focus on that, because he did repeat himself a lot in the TikTok clip that people are coming across, and what he said in this particular video that I was asked to respond to, right? But before I do that, I just wanted to point out a couple of things. He will repeat these things in his 8 reasons, but just things that stood out to me in the TikTok video, because it made me realize that me and this dude have a very, very similar, if not identical, interpretation of our experience dealing with women in other countries and then coming back to America. So if you don't already follow this guy's channel, it's gonna be in the description, be in the title, whatever. So go ahead, sub to his channel, check it out. It's interesting, it's fresh. He's up and coming. This is definitely something that's new for him. He's in a new place in his life. So this is new experiences that he's sharing with you guys, and I think that's when it's in its purest form, right? So I'm going to talk about a lot of these concepts and these experiences, but for me, a lot of it is recollecting, you know what I mean? Whereas for him, he's like going through it right now, and I think that is very unique and special to share with the audience, because a lot of you guys that are watching, you haven't yet experienced this. You might be hearing it now more and more. You might be becoming more and more interested in dating women outside of the country, and you might have just started dating women outside of the country. So it's like you can kind of share that journey with him. I kind of already went and did it and came back. My girl is here, but she is Puerto Rican, right? And I get some of the benefits of her being, a Latina and having somewhat of a traditional upbringing that might be similar to girls in other countries. But then I have to also deal with a lot of the headache of the U.S. American conditioning that she came up with also, right? So not every guy is going to be built and designed to deal with that. Not every guy is going to want to deal with that. I stick it out because I can kind of strategize a little better than most. But it is an unnecessary uphill battle if you have the option of dating outside. And I do want to go ahead and point out that let's not get carried away. Not everybody has that option, because a lot of these guys say it on the internet, Austin being one of them. He phrases it almost as if every guy can just be like, you know what, you're right, where's my passport? Yeah, let me get out of here right now. Not every guy has it like that. Not every guy can afford it. Not every guy has a valid passport and can afford it. Not every guy works remotely that has the time to do it. And many guys don't even have the swag or the confidence to pull it off either. They'll just go to these other countries and see beautiful, pleasant women. They won't necessarily get up on them. So I do kind of want to point that out. Let's not act like this is a free-for-all and every guy can just, get on the phone and book a ticket right now. And it's going to just fall into this great success with foreign women. I got to be honest with you guys. Women are still women, okay? It's still going to require you to be attractive. It's still going to require you to be confident. It's still going to require you to be able to afford and finance these endeavors and escapades. So let's not get carried away. He is actually ideal in the sense of I'm always looking for an audience like what Austin represents, whereas it's guys that have a lot of potential. Because there's a difference to talking to guys that like they ain't working with nothing, and they're way too far from developing anything that's really gonna be stand out as far as conquering some punani. Then you have guys that are like they have a lot of potential, but they might be in the wrong environment. They might have the wrong mindset. They might not have, situated a couple of things first, like making sure they got a steady, income coming in, making sure they got, their shit together. They got a nice place. They got a dependable vehicle. There's certain guys that it's just, little tangible things like that they need to work out, but they got the looks, they got the height, they got the confidence. They're somewhat in shape, or they're not far off from getting in shape. They got some relative game. They just need more experience. And they need to challenge themselves some more. So, I like to see the guys that actually have what it takes to be like on player level, right? And I'm not taking anything away from the guys that aren't blessed in those areas because we obviously can get better results with those guys as well too. You can go from no dates, to getting some dates and getting you a nice little um, dating life going. But then there's other guys that have the potential to be spinning multiple plates, to be dating the finest women, to be traveling around the world, knocking down nines and tens. So it's a different breed, guys. Anyway, it's a different breed, right? But there was another thing that he mentioned that I thought was interesting because before I decided to start really like staying in other countries, like before I decided to stay in Mexico, for several months at a time, I first decided to be celibate. And I think that is something that can benefit a lot of guys to just say, you know what, let me take this guy Austin's advice. Let me take this guy Allende's advice and start planning to date women outside the country. We're doing it strategically, saying for this amount of time, I'm going to work hard, work overtime, push myself, whatever I got to do business wise, earn some money, put some money aside, work on a promotion, work on transferring, work on freeing myself so I can work remotely, whatever. But the point is focusing on your purpose and making money first and cutting women out completely, like cutting American women out completely, going celibate and just focusing on building yourself up and putting yourself into a better position and then rewarding yourself with this travel and these adventures with these foreign women. Now, he didn't go as far as to say as be celibate, but he said that when he got back, he had no interest in having sex with women in America. He was like, yo, I'll just wait till the next time that I could travel again. And that's exactly how I felt. But first, I did the celibate thing. Then, after 6 months of doing the celibate thing, I finally went and traveled, and I indulged myself while I traveled. And when I came back, I was like, yo, you know what? Run it back. And I thought it was going to be like another 3 or 6 months celibate. And then it got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'll just only think about hooking up with women when I'm in another country. Because of all of the factors combined, it just made more sense. One of them being the price of things. He also mentioned that. And I know that he's not just talking about how much women expect you to spend or how much you have to actually fundamentally spend on a woman. He means like in general, the transportation is cheaper, the dates are cheaper, the hotels are cheaper, the food is cheaper, the movies is cheaper, the amusement park is cheaper. So when you come back, even if you have a chick that was acting right, let's just say, lucky you got a girl in America that's acting right, or even if she's a foreign chick, but she's in America and she's acting right, you still paying, far more here to take her out and have a good time than you would in another country. And it just makes you irritated. It makes you like, fuck. Even if you have money, you're still like, yeah, I feel so uncomfortable. Like, why am I paying $160 for dinner for 2 people when I was just in another country where we got more food, the food was better, and I paid $60 for both of us, and we had multiple drinks. Even something as simple as the movies. Here, I take my girl to the movies. Dude, I'm telling you right now, it's a minimum of $60 for me to take my girl to the movies. That's a minimum. Because the tickets are going to be like 20 something bucks each. Oh, no, why did I say $60? I'm tripping. It'd be like 40, $50 just for the popcorn and the drinks and shit. When I put the tickets on it, it's another $40, right? Yeah, so it's like $100, bro. Yeah, I'm paying like $65, $70 to $100 just to take my girl to see fucking Thor, Love and Thunder. But if I go to the movies in Mexico, good lord, the tickets are about $6 each, and it's the same IMAX, whatever, fancy shit. And then, the food and whatever else we eat, it might be another $15, $20, right? So anyhow, a lot to take in, guys, as far as like he refers to it, night and day. It really is a night and day experience, just being in America versus some of these other countries. He talks a lot about his experience with Brazil, but I think the brother is just now starting to travel and go to different countries. Brazil is not like, because I know a lot of these black guys, they're like getting their passport and they're going to Brazil and all they talk about is Brazil. They get their passport and they go to DR and all they talk about is DR, right? So I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking them at all. I'm not trying to say I'm better than them, because for me, it was like one particular country I was focusing on at a time also. And it was blowing my mind and I couldn't wait to tell everybody about it. But I do want guys to keep in mind the bigger picture. It's not just Brazil. It's not just DR. It's not just Mexico. So just because Austin is going to Brazil, don't think like you got to go to Brazil. Just because these passport guys are going to DR, don't think like you got to go to DR. Just because Allende keeps on going back to Mexico. By the way, I'm going back to Mexico in about 6 days. Don't think that you have to go to Mexico. Just because this guy keeps going to Medellin, in Colombia, don't think you got to go to Colombia. There are plenty, plenty of countries, some of them obscure that nobody's even talking about, that you will be able to have these night and day experiences, all right, that are far better than what you're experiencing in. And again, the same way I'm telling you, it's not only Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, and DR, is the same way I'm going to tell you, it's not only America that the women are like, ugh, not worth it. Canada, for the most part, it ain't worth it. Australia, ugh. What you call it? What's the other? England. You know what I mean? Basically anywhere where they speak English. Good luck with that. And don't get me wrong, I do well with girls from Germany. I do well with girls from France. I do well with girls from Canada. I do well with girls from Australia. But it's because I'm not from there. So for whatever reason, guys are having difficulty with women where they're from. When I talk to guys and girls in Mexico, they're not really getting along like that either. So it's real interesting because these women are an awesome option for us guys coming from America, but their men are actually having issues and problems with them as well. So it's kind of interesting that everybody's trying to like look out. Everybody's trying to look at something different. So I'm gonna cover his 8 things, in another video. But just know that there is going to be a lot of difficulty and an uphill battle in trying to come to any type of understanding and agreement with women in America for American guys. Maybe if you're somewhere else, you're from somewhere else, you might have better luck with American women. I don't doubt that at all. Because they're not already trained to look at you as an enemy. They're not already trained to look at you as a problem or the patriarchy or someone trying to control them or the grandson of the guy that screwed over their grandmother and it runs in the family. I don't know. But the women here, for whatever reason, they're already conditioned and programmed to look at you as a threat, an enemy, the problem. And it's really hard to try to reverse that conditioning. Very difficult. And the guys who can do it probably aren't you, right? Because it's a very small percentage of the population that is able to sit there and rewire and reprogram anybody for that matter, not just a female, but anybody, right? We're all products of our upbringing and our conditioning, and we are all conditioned heavily. We just don't know it, but we are all brainwashed. From we were born until now, we're just an accumulation of what we've been told, and what we believe, which isn't necessarily the truth or isn't necessarily true. All right, guys. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now, and I'm gonna pick it back up again. With the 8 things that he pointed out, I'm gonna cover that, and then also there is some response videos coming out of females for some of the things that he said on TikTok that I find very interesting, just to kind of dissect the thought process of women and why they become so angry and so triggered when they hear this type of information. Because if you think about it, guys, why would women even care? Like, why would women care what the hell Austin is talking about? He's not even talking to them. He's telling American guys, hey, get your passport, don't date American women, experience these other women out here. This dude has 5,000 subs on YouTube. He's not changing the world. He's not, he's not convincing men in droves not to date American women, but yet women with a bigger platform than him will immediately try to attack him for even suggesting that guys might have a better experience with other women. So I think that that's very interesting how angry and triggered that women get when they hear this type of content, because obviously he's not the first to say something to that tune, but yet women always respond the exact same way. Even my girl overheard me listening to his video, and she instantly got upset, and I was like, what's the problem? And she gets upset every time I go to Mexico, right? And she's always mocking me, saying, oh yeah, you know, the women are better there. And it's like, I'm with you. What are you talking about? What's the big deal? Just because I'm telling guys on YouTube to explore their options, why are you getting upset? I've already explored my options. And but you see how defensive they get, and women's immediate response to these uncomfortable feelings is immediately to attack, to try to attack, to try to find a way to shame it, try to find a way to discredit it, you see what I mean? And I'm entertained at watching them try to come up with why somehow these guys are wrong, and their attacks are amazing. Like, I'm not going to get into too much because I obviously want to cover it in a whole nother video. But just a couple of them that they say that are ridiculous is like, oh, you want to go to these countries to go fuck with these broke bitches. It's like, the single mom rate in the US is out of control, and the large majority of those women are like one step above poverty. So they're broke bitches. So there are plenty of guys in the US fucking with broke bitches right here. You see what I'm trying to say? So why is it not a problem to fuck with a broke bitch in America? But if you go mess with a hardworking, productive female in a poorer country, all of a sudden she's a poor broke bitch. And it's like, these women have jobs. These women have their own place. They're not broke bitches. They just make less money than people in America simply because they're in another country where the income is less. Like, anyhow, guys, it's just little stupid shit like that. They try to shame guys, like, like them throwing mud is gonna make guys say, "Oh yeah, you're right. I'm not. Yeah, shame on me. I'm not gonna go over there and fuck with broke bitches." But the irony of that is that the women here expect you to make more money and support them. Therefore, their income wouldn't mean anything anyway. So why would a woman being broke in another country matter if the guy is more attracted to her because she's a better option for all the other things that we've listed? So anyhow, guys, we know the deal. There's no logic in women's argument. So we have to learn to kind of just laugh at it. But you can only laugh at it if you've already put yourself in a position where it's just laughable because it doesn't affect you. That's the thing. If you're a guy who don't have it like that, then at the end of the day, these women are still somewhat winning because they're the ones that are in control in this particular dating market. They're the ones that are benefiting, at least in their youth they are. So it's on you guys to put yourself in a position where you can actually monopolize on some of the things that we're trying to, to put you up on. So if Austin is saying this, it means nothing to a guy who doesn't have a passport, who can't afford to travel, he can't afford to go and join himself in these other countries, and also who isn't working on his purpose, his value, and his level of attractiveness. It's not gonna benefit you guys. You're just listening. You might as well be watching Ricky and Morty. It's just fucking entertainment at that point, guys. All right, so it's on you to put yourself in a position to monopolize the benefit and exploit these, these cultural advantages that we have. All right. Other than that, you just wasted fucking air. Jump in the email. Hit me up on the consoles because a lot of you guys thinking about traveling and you don't even know where to start. You don't have no kind of plan, no kind of strategy. Hit me up. I'm setting guys straight with some bullet points and some things that they can do, and things that they should be prepared for and what to expect and how to navigate it and how to at least have some type of structural plan so that you're going out there and making the best of it. Because a lot of guys are just, thinking they're just going to go there and everything's just going to happen for them, and then it doesn't. And they're like, oh, I don't see what you guys were talking about. Yeah, you got to kind of have a plan, guy. And if you're not cold approaching women here, I don't know how you're going to be cold approaching women in a country where you probably don't even speak the language, and the culture is different. All right, so confidence is going to ring bells everywhere. If you guys need to wrap your head around it and what you're going to do, just hit me up. We'll figure it out. Other than that, keep it authentic. Peace.